What's up, all? This is a recap for the DOTS bias trading indicator. Today is Tuesday, September 9th. So, coming into the day, we had a partially bullish engulfing profile. You can see Asia is the blue, London is the orange. So, London is partially bullish engulfing Asia. So, when this happens using at NQ stats at probable Chris on Twitter, 79% of the time over the last 10 years, New York breaks the London high at a minimum. So when I was coming into the day today, this London highs were my bias, and then we have previous day high and then previous week high. And so I was pretty postured to want want isn't a great word, but I was thinking that highs would be the draw. So coming into the day, 9:30 open is when the New York dots start firing off. You can see London low had already been taken in the hour and a half before, in the hour and a half between 8 a.m. and 9:30 market open. So this kind of had me scratching my head a little bit as I was expecting London highs to get hit first. So this had me on pause. So the next sequential thing I look at is NQ stats initial balance. What this is it looks at the low and the high, or high and the low, of the first hour of price action from 9:30 to 10:30. And I'll show you how I use the dots in conjunction with the initial balance stats to determine the one and only trade I took today. So at 10 a.m., you can see the market opened at 9:30, and so the dots start populating. So down here we have London dots. Up here we have New York dots for trading hours only. So you can see we had 10 a.m. a revision, non-farm revision, that ended up being negative. It wasn't on Forex Factory, but just something that I had in the back of my mind, that I didn't want to be too aggressive before 10 a.m. So market opens. This is a 1 minute chart. You just have wick after wick, trapped buyers, trapped sellers, trapped buyers, trapped sellers. Pretty diabolical price action. And so we did have a column of all red dots right here. Given the fact that London lows had already been hit before market open, that my bias was bullish. My personal narrative wasn't jiving with the dots. I want the dots to be a confluence with other factors, and I'll show you the trade that I took, how and why I took it. So I avoided these red dot setups again because there was the revision at 10 a.m. and I was confused because the statistics favored highs getting hit, and just wasn't super comfortable taking the short. You can see it went maybe 10 points. This low wasn't filled. Dots get reset. This set of dots ended up working. And then there was a new set right at the revision that would have been a stop out. So pretty mixed for these different sets of red dots. And so the next thing I was looking at was the initial balance, which is this box. So looking at the high from 9:30 to the low of 10 a.m., or you can look at low to high depending on where we were at 10:30. I want dots in the direction of the initial balance. So what this stat says is this blue line is the 50% of the initial balance. If price at 10:30 closes in the lower half, you're favoring the low of the initial balance to get hit, and vice versa. If price closes in the upper half, you are favoring the high to get hit. So you can see price was hovering around the 50%. VWAP was above us. So I was looking to see price close in the lower half or higher half. I was just, I was willing to let it do whatever it wanted to do. And you can see we start to move lower. So right here at 10:30, we are in the lower half of the initial balance. And when this happens, there's a 74% chance that the initial balance low will be broken before the initial balance high. So this gives me a confluence. Next, I'm looking for dots to fire off red, and I will be targeting the initial balance low. So dots being mixed kept me out of all of this, and then the revision at 10 o'clock had me, again, avoiding these red dots. But now I have a firm bias. I have the initial balance with stats behind me. I have the dots are red. Short the dots to the low. 2,400. And then it worked in a minute. So, sorry I don't have a lot of energy. I have a doctor's appointment in a bit, and I'm fasting for the blood work. So, kind of out of it. But, so, mixed dots kept me out of this. And then I wanted to take a trade when I wanted to take it, seeing what I wanted to see. I wanted to see red dots to the initial bounce low because I had a ton of confluences. We had EMAs in my favor. The VWAP was holding here in my favor. Initial bounce in my favor. Dots in my favor. That was like 4 or 5 confluences right there. You wait, be patient, you be disciplined when price is awful, and then you strike when your ducks line up in a row, and you execute. So that was the trade I took today. Hope some of you guys did okay. 7-day free trial link in the bio for the dots. Code DOTS gets you 20% off any subscription. Thank you.